All right, if you're not used to this by now, get used to it. The first video is always on the control scheme that you're going to be using for your 201 modules. So Rory's going to be on his back. The Kimura Control, it's important to distinguish between the control mechanism and the Kimura grip. So when I say Kimura grip, I'm grabbing the wrist, you can grab it with the thumb and grip, doesn't really matter for now, but this is a Kimura grip. I've made a figure 4, as is standard when applying a Kimura, and I'm going to hold it. And Rory's going to escape. Oh, damn. All right. Now I'm going to use Kimura Control as opposed to just the cosmetic Kimura grip. And now Rory's going to try to escape. All right. So let's illustrate what we're demonstrating here. The Kimura Control is an internal shoulder rotation mechanism where we're utilizing the lever here, which is basically the wrist to the elbow, as a method of turning the humerus, right? So I usually call that a ratchet lever. I believe the technical term for it is gear drive. But the idea is when I use this lever to rotate this lever, I internally rotate the shoulder. I have to do two things. I have to create the internal rotation mechanism, and I have to prevent Rory from hiding his elbow. Because once I'm not backing the elbow up, I'm no longer able to effectively create this ratchet. So if I'm here, and you'll notice that there's nothing right now, as I push, there's nothing stopping Rory's elbow from coming through. So we control the wrist, and we control the elbow with one of a few different sort of secondary points. The first one is the forearm. If I can create enough pressure in the wrist downwards towards my partner's hip, basically like I'm trying to actually put his arm behind his back. But again, no one worth a damn is ever going to let you do this. They're going to grab their shorts, they're going to connect their hands. Well, it doesn't really matter, right? But as long as I'm pushing down, and then with my, it's my left hand here is pushing down. We'll go over when to go thumb or no thumb in another video. Otherwise, this video is just going to be like half an hour long. But the initial control scheme is I'm pushing down on this lever, and then my forearm is pushing up. So I've created internal rotation, and then I'm also blocking against his shoulder with my elbow. So I'm limiting his ability to travel in this direction, and I'm limiting his ability to travel in this direction. Either one is bad for me. If I only limit his ability to travel in this direction, but I'm here and his elbow can hide, it's no good. And by the same token, if I'm blocking his elbow, but I don't block his shoulder, he can move around and still gain that elbow position back. So I'm pushing down on the wrist, I'm blocking the shoulder off, usually with my elbow, and the forearm is the first point of control. The next point of control, because this is not permanent, and I'm just sitting like this for comfort, this has nothing to do with the control scheme. The next point of control, so you'll notice that right now, or you may not, but you will once I point it out, I'm at roughly a 45-degree angle with Rory. If I was doing the same thing and I was over here, that wrist control would just not be the same because I'm not really behind his elbow, and I can't really push too effectively this way because I'm twisting my spine to push. I want to start and maintain roughly a 45-degree angle. So now that forearm control is great. As Rory corrects to match me, if I just stay here, I will lose the position of my forearm behind my partner's elbow. So my sort of backup is as he starts to do that, is I shorten the lever and I bring my biceps behind it. Right? Some people advocate the chest. I'm not as big a fan of that, although I'm not saying it doesn't work. Some people are really like, they do it this way. This still totally works. I just find it's a little bit harder to transition to some of like the back takes and then stuff like that. So I tend to prefer forearm, bicep. This still allows me to rotate him this way relatively well. Alternately, as you may have noticed in the earlier demonstration, if I'm landing out of like a Kimura roll where we're here like this and I'm coming up, if right now, let's turn so the camera can see. If my elbow is down, and I can't quickly bring my bicep to bear. If Rory were to hide his elbow, I will have lost the control. So in scenarios where I'm a little bit far away, is I'll put my head here and I'll block his elbow with my head until I gain the bicep position. If I'm pushing him away and he turns back in suddenly, I'll just put my head here. So control point 1, forearm. Control point 2, bicep. control point 3, head. You can, like I said, you can also use your chest here. It works very well. That is your initial control scheme. Using a ratchet style lever to internally rotate and maintain internal rotation. That's from the top. With the Kimura, because this is something that you're going to play from top and bottom, we're going to go over your control scheme from the bottom in the next video.